My name is Asmat. I am student at Rehan School AI Training Program, batch 24, level number 1 today.
Nice to meet.
Thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome. I'm all set whenever you are. What's that first question on your list?
Okay, this is my first question. Why is having a positive mindset important in daily life?
And I think you mean a plastic mindset is in something that can change and grow, right? Um, that's actually a really cool way to put it. In psychology, we usually call that a growth mindset. It means you believe you can get better at things with hard work instead of thinking you're just born with a certain amount of talent. For example, imagine someone who is bad at math. A person with a fixed mindset would say, I'm just not a math person, and give up. But someone with a plastic or growth mindset would say, math is hard for me right now. But if I practice more and try a different way of learning, I can get better. It's important because it stops you from feeling stuck. When you believe your brain can grow and change, you aren't afraid to make mistakes. And those mistakes are actually how you learn the most. Does that make sense?
Okay, how can positive thinking improve mental health?
That's a big one. And it's honestly such a game changer for how you feel every day. Positive thinking isn't about pretending that everything is perfect or ignoring the bad stuff. It's more about how you handle the bad stuff when it happens. When you focus on the positive, you're basically training your brain to look for solutions instead of just focusing on the problem. This lowers your stress and helps you feel more in control of your life. For example, let's say you have a really bad day at school or work and you make a mistake. If you think, I'm a failure, I always mess up, your mental health takes a hit. You feel sad, anxious, and tired. But if you use positive thinking, you might say, that was a tough day, but I learned something from that mistake, and I'll do better tomorrow. By changing that one thought, you move from feeling defeated to feeling hopeful. Over time, this keeps your mood higher and prevents you from spiraling into those really dark, stressful thoughts. It's like giving your mind a shield against stress. Does that example help, or should I try another one?
Try under what? Other one?
No need to be sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. Did I
Okay.
go too fast, or was there something else on your mind?
Okay. What is the difference between positive thinking and unrealistic optimism?
That is such a smart question because those two things can look similar from the outside, but they feel very different on the inside. Positive thinking is about hope and resilience. It's saying, this is a hard situation, but I believe I can find a way through it. It's grounded in reality, but it chooses to focus on the solution. Unrealistic thinking, or what some people call toxic positivity, is when you ignore the truth entirely. It's like if your house was on fire and you just said, everything is fine, just smile and be happy. That's not helpful because it ignores the actual problem. Here's a good example. Imagine you fail a big test. Unrealistic thinking would be saying, I don't need to worry about this. I'll just get a perfect score next time without studying because I'm lucky. That's not based on facts and it doesn't help you improve. Positive thinking would be saying, I'm just disappointed that I failed and it's okay to feel sad about it. But I know if I ask for help and change how I study, I can do better next time.
Okay.
One ignores the problem, the other acknowledges the problem, but believes in the ability to fix it. Does that distinction make sense to you?
Okay. How can someone reframe negative thoughts in positive ones?
That's the real secret to the whole thing, learning how to flip the script in your head. The best way to do this is a technique called reframing. It's like taking a picture and moving the frame to see a different part of the view. You don't change the facts, you just change how you look at them. A good way to start is to catch the negative thought as soon as it happens and then ask yourself, is there another way to see this? For example, let's say you're practicing your English and you forget a word. A negative thought would be, I'm so bad at this, I'll never be able to speak fluently. That thought just makes you feel stuck and sad. To reframe that, you could say, I forgot a word, which means I just found a gap in my vocabulary. Now I know exactly what word I need to learn today. See the difference? You went from I am a failure to I have a goal. You're
Okay.
still in the same situation. You forgot a word, but the second thought gives you energy to keep going instead of making you want to quit. Does that feel like something you could try when you're practicing?
Okay. How can someone reframe negative thought in positive ones?
I think you might mean transform or turn negative thoughts into positive ones, right? Using the word defend usually means you are protecting something, but it sounds like you're asking how to fight off the negative thoughts and replace them with positive ones. Is that what you meant?
Okay. What role does self-talk play in shaping our mindset?
Exactly. It's all about that internal conversation. When you pay attention to your self talk, you're basically becoming the coach of your own mind. Instead of letting a negative thought just run the show, you're stopping it and saying, wait, is this actually true? Or is this just my stress talking? It's like you're auditing your own brain to make sure you're being fair to yourself. Do you
Okay.
find that your self talk is usually a bit tough on you, or are you already pretty kind to yourself?
How can positive thinking help people our challenges, overcome challenges?
It's like having a reliable map when you're lost in a storm. When we face a big challenge, it's easy to feel like the problem is a giant wall that we can't get over. Positive thinking doesn't make the wall disappear, but it helps you look for the door, or the ladder, or a way around it. For example, imagine you have to give a big presentation in front of a lot of people, and you're terrified. A negative mindset says, I'm going to mess up, and everyone will laugh at me. That thought actually makes you more nervous and makes it harder to speak. But if you use positive thinking, you can say, I'm nervous because I care about doing a good job. And that's okay. I have practiced and I have some great ideas to share. By doing that, you change your fear into excitement. You aren't ignoring the challenge, but you're focusing on your strength instead of your fear. This gives you the energy to actually take action and solve the problem instead of just worrying about it. Does that make sense? Which one of your 20 questions is next?
What are some daily habits that encourage positive thinking?
Building habits is the best way to make positive thinking feel natural instead of like a chore. One of the most powerful things you can do is start a gratitude practice. Every morning or before you go to sleep, write down 3 small things you're thankful for. It could be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a nice conversation with a friend. This trains your brain to scan your day for the wins rather than the losses. Another great habit is positive affirmations. This is where you tell yourself something true and encouraging. For example, instead of saying, I hope I don't mess up my English today, you say, I am becoming a better English speaker every time I practice. It sounds simple, but repeating it actually changes how you feel about your progress.
Okay.
Lastly, I'd suggest mindful breathing. When you feel a negative thought starting to take over, just stop for 1 minute and focus on your breath. Clears the mental fog and gives you a second to choose a positive thought instead of just reacting to a bad one. Do any of those sound like something you'd enjoy trying, or do they feel a bit too much like homework?
Okay. And I ask with the last question: how can positive thinking improve relationship with other?
That's a beautiful way to wrap things up because positive thinking doesn't just help you, it changes how everyone around you feels too. When you have a positive mindset, you tend to give people the benefit of the doubt. Instead of assuming someone is being mean when they're quiet, you might think, maybe they're just having a rough day. This makes you more patient and kinder, which naturally makes other people feel safer and more open around you. For example, imagine a friend forgets to call you back. A negative thought would be, they don't care about me anymore. And you might act cold toward them when you finally talk. But a positive thinker would say, they're probably just really busy right now. And when they finally do call, you greet them with warmth. That warmth makes the friend feel good. And it
Okay.
keeps the relationship strong instead of creating a fight over nothing.
Okay.
It basically creates a circle of kindness. You put out positive energy, and people usually reflect that back to you. Does that feel true in your own life?
Okay. One more question. How does positive thinking affect success in school or at work?
And it's basically like a fuel for your motivation. When you believe that success is possible, you're way more likely to actually put in the effort to get there. In school or at work, the biggest thing that holds people back isn't usually a lack of skill, it's the fear of failing. If you have a negative mindset, a hard project feels like a trap. You might think, this is too hard. I'm never going to finish this. And then you start to procrastinate because you're already expecting to fail. That actually makes it more likely that you'll struggle. But with positive thinking, you see that same hard project as a challenge to solve. You tell yourself, this is tough, but I can figure it out step by step. This keeps you focused and keeps you moving forward, even when things get messy. For example, think about someone learning a new software at work. The negative thinker says, I'm too old for this, or I'm not a tech person. They give up early. The positive thinker says, I don't know this yet, but I'm a quick learner.
Thank
They ask
you.
more questions,
No,
they
no,
practice
nothing.
more, and in the end, they're the
Not,
ones
nothing. No more question. Thank you so much, Maya. Nice to meet you.